Welcome to Behind the Claw. We are going to be picking up where we left off last week. These guys have just arrived on Walston. They are aware of, did a little bit of research as they were making their way from the 100 diameter jump limit into the world. Kind of, doing their due diligence to find out a little bit more about exactly what makes Walston Walston. And one of the things that they came across because they had a really excellent role searching through the database, is that there are reports, specifically from the Scout Service, there are reports that Walston has a little bit of a racism problem where it concerns Vargur. Now, the report that they got specifically goes into the fact that none of this racism towards Vargur is ever overt. It's never specifically stated. An example would be a Vargur traveler approaches a customs officer, a government official, or a shop owner and asks a question, and the shop owner will pause, consider the question, and then will deliver the answer to any of the humans that are in the group with the Vargur. Just basically ignoring the Vargur's request for information and instead giving that information to other humans. That's one example. And like I said, it's beyond that. You know, you've been here all of maybe 10 minutes, so well, you had to go through customs, so it's a bureaucratic ordeal. So you've probably been here a couple hours, but you haven't seen anything more than that. You've seen that some of the starport staff, of course, are Vargur, and they don't seem to be downtrodden. Um, they go about their jobs. But we'll get to that in just a moment. So you guys have just arrived on Walston. You went through customs. You had to pay a $500 licensing fee that's good for a month for a temporary license to carry a sidearm and a bladed weapon. Aside from that, all other weapons are pretty much banned. They have to be kind of stowed. You can take them with you, but they cannot be out and about and visibly present. And you also learned that, just talking to the customs officials as you were coming in, you learned that indeed High and Dry did come through the port a couple of times. And specifically, you learned that it came through the port a couple of times in the past year. And the last time that it was here was probably about 6 months ago. The crew they have a pretty bad reputation about the starport, at least according to the customs officials. They seem to be real jerks. They were loudmouthed and they were very offensive. They apparently did not like anything about Walston. They were displeased by the food and the beds in the hotel, hated the decor, found the local practice of wearing a kilt. Everybody here wears a kilt all the time. They found it hilarious somehow, and they made a mess wherever they went. Simple concepts like putting trash in a trash bin eluded them, and they seemed to think that they were better than literally everybody else on the planet put together. So they have a very low opinion of the previous crew of High and Dry. And when the question was posed as to information on the location of the ship, because you were told that it was somewhere on Walston, and that kind of, the obvious connotation is that it's sitting on a pad at the starport, collecting dock fees. That may or may not be the case. You were told that when you were asked about the location of the ship, you were told that you'll need to speak to the minister, the planetary governor, and So this starport is not the capital of Walston. The population of Walston is exceptionally low. Most of the people live either here or in the capital of Central Lake, and there is a train, a rail line that runs from the starport to Central Lake. but the population is so low that it only runs once a day, and uh, you learn that you probably came into the world probably I would say it's probably in the afternoon. So the next train will not be leaving until tomorrow morning. So you've probably got a good uh, 10 hours before you have a train to catch, and so that's where we'll be picking up. Uh, so this is despite what it looks like, this is actually a fairly good map because it gives all the information without being overly ostentatious. Um, yes, there you go. You're a bubble boy. You have to wear your armored vaccine. Um, so th- this obviously is the starport. Your ship. You disembarked from one of these landing ports is probably where the Autumn Gold is currently docked. But not for long. Autumn Gold is going to conduct business and then leave. This is the customs starport customs. This is a Class C starport, so it's I mean it's not fantastic, but honestly, it's better than a lot of downports you've been in. And this star town, in most places that you've ever been, would barely constitute a village. Lots of residential areas, and there's one main thoroughfare of this star town that goes, from the customs office directly to the rail line, and then it also cuts south to an industrial estate. Cargo containers and shipping concerns, things of that nature. But these residential areas, especially along this central drag here, there's a lot of shops. There's more than a couple of restaurants, a few taverns, but nothing major. There is an Astro Burger here.
Ooh.
Hold on. I need my other.
Right. So, well, okay. You know what? This is a good start. This is a good jumping off point. I would like to roll streetwise to try to find the shadiest sort of place and see what kind of unsavory people hang around this joint.
Certainly. So you're going to be here overnight for the next 10 hours. The first question I will pose to you is: do you want to look into getting accommodations for the night, a hotel, or are you just going to stay up all night? There's not a whole lot of people here, and it seems like most people on Walston probably go to bed pretty early.
Maybe we should get a motel room.
Yeah.
Get a room for the night. We'll be covered.
So there are at least two hotels here. One of them. So you have your choice between Fleabag and moderately okay. Depends on how much you want to spend. A night at Fleabag Hotel will cost you 50 credits. Moderately okay hotel is going to cost you like 120 credits.
120 is fine, I think.
Gladly.
Does it fit all of us in the one room?
Well, no, I imagine we'll have to,
separate rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have rooms with 2 queen size beds in them. So if you want to, if two of you want to double up and split the cost of a room for the night, you certainly can do that.
Me and Clanker will have our own room.
That's true. Well, it's not like Clanker needs a bed, but
Hey, it just stands there menacingly.
Yeah.
yes,
He only needs an outlet.
Yeah.
Plug in, charge it. He doesn't actually need an outlet either.
he can charge wirelessly. So,
Are there any clothing stores
there are.
in this area?
There
Like
are
a higher end one.
They're higher end. Yeah,
Or like
there-
maybe like an artisan.
I mean, that's a difficult question to answer. So, if you're looking for, high end in the way of like, oh, is there a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton here? No, there is not. If you're looking for artisan, however, like I said, everybody on Walston, almost 100% of the time, wears kilts. So if you want an artisan kilt, yes, there are a number. There are at least 4 artisan kilt makers in the Startown, and they obviously have made. I mean, not that there's a lot of traffic coming to Walston, but they have obviously made enough of a business selling to. I was going to say tourists, but there's nobody comes to Walston for tourism. To traders, they make good kilts.
Basically, I want to see if is there somebody I can throw money at to get me and Clanker's uniforms made, and I'll even buy a high-end kilt since we're gonna go meet the governor, and it would probably look better if I did.
Okay. Go ahead and make a streetwise plus intellect or education check.
This is gonna go very well.
You can do it.
So, social or educate or
Let me double check that. Now that you ask, I was thinking the same thing, right, as you said something.
I'm not looking for anything sneaky. I'm looking for publicly known.
It's still a streetwise check.
Right. As to know if it's social or intellect. Actually, it doesn't matter. Both of them are the same
it
modifier.
would depend on it. So whether it's social or intellect, it would depend on whether you're searching yourself or whether you're asking around.
I would probably look for like an information terminal or something. I would
Okay.
assume that something like that's got to be in the starport for business.
Yeah, go ahead and make an streetwise plus intellect check.
An 8.
Excellent. So yeah, you find a artisan tailor. Of course, they specialize in kilts and kilt accessories, but they make it all right here. And one of the few cash crops on Walston is not sheep specifically, but sheep-like space sheep, sheep-like animals. And actually, I might have something for that. Yes, I do. So they have a wool that is made from a creature on the world named a Walston. That looks like this. It is basically a small rodent. So it like basically comes out like a cashmere that they're making this wool from. So these are exceptionally soft kilts, and the whole crossbody sash and the whole bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go look for that. I'll probably on my mobile comm let them know, hey, I'm going clothes shopping. I'll get my own room at the hotel.
Okay. All right. So we will come back to if you want to create a note or post it of what exactly it is that you're looking to buy. Then when I come back to you, I will have a price for you. And we'll have some back and forth interaction with the tailor. What is Orion doing? Or maybe I should ask, what's Orion, Kaz, and Audrey doing? Are you splitting up and going your own way throughout the? You can basically walk across this entire Star Town in probably an hour.
An hour? I would say that's too much. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking,
Yeah, maybe 30 minutes. maybe an hour round trip. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, this place is tiny.
Yeah.
Well, we probably shouldn't leave Audrey alone because there is some implicit racism, and it's probably just why even bother. So let's go. Well, okay. Why don't you guys get hotel rooms for all of us, and then meanwhile, I'm gonna go look for a shady watering hole. And I forget what I wanted the shady watering hole for, but I'm sure it'll come to me.
Okay, so you go. You can go. Are you asking? Hey, I need to
No,
find
I'm gonna search myself.
Okay.
I'm gonna search
Good, make
myself.
a-
There's probably.
But go ahead and make a streetwise plus intellect check.
Oh yeah, not bad.
Okay, so you do find. In fact, I will. As we do this, it's a good idea to keep track of where everybody's at. Wow, a giant Zerzy appears. That's where Zerzy is at. Oh, you already have. So you find a really you find the dive bar. Pretty much, you just kind of head in the direction towards the industrial estate, um, because of course that's where most of the dive bars are going to be. You head you find this place. It's not even listed on the data net. Here's another um, little fact for you guys. Everybody make a recon plus intellect check.
Plus intellect.
Oof.
Yeah, wow. Audrey missed it entirely.
Yes.
And we'll just skip Jersey since he seems to step away. So um, you kind so Casimir and Orion, you kind of noticed, while you were waiting for everybody to get through customs, you kind of peruse the local data net. Just your mobile comms immediately connect to it, of course. One of the things that you noticed was there seems to be no mention of anything that the local customs agents or anybody at the starport mentioned, about how the high and dry was here, or that high and dry their crew was a bunch of jerks. There's nothing about any of that on the local data net. In fact, there's very little information. The only mention that you find in the local data net is through public starport records that does show that the high and dry docked here, and there is a note that the crew of high and dry returned to the spaceport in an air raft and booked passage aboard a far trader named the Maverick Spacer. And their last known destination, Maverick Spacer, had set a course, or had filed a flight plan, a jump plan, for Khalidbolg via Detrillion. That's the only information that of any kind about the crew or High and Dry. It is not currently High and Dry is not currently listed as being parked in the spaceport.
Okay, well, that changed my plan slightly, but ultimately I still know what I want to do. So.
Okay. So yeah, you find this dive bar basically caters to the rough and tumble crowd, the blue collar workers of the industrial estate, and is also partially spacers tend to be partial to some of these types of places. When you show up, it has concrete floors. There's probably peanut shells all over the place. Um, it there's some kind of outdated metal music playing in from the jukebox. That kind of place. What are you looking for?
Great. So, essentially, what my approach is going to be is I'm going to like sort of start gathering info, and my not really even my cover story, but my cover embellishment
Okay.
is that the crew of the High and Dry pissed some wrong people off, and I'm a bounty hunter, but I'm not bounty hunting for them, I'm bounty hunting for their ship. So essentially, and I'm willing to throw down credits for good intel for where the ship is, because I know it should be somewhere on this planet. So where did those fuck ups leave it? Like where did they crash the ship? Where is it?
Okay. So then are you asking? Are you just walking into the bar asking around, or are you gonna buy some drinks? Gonna buy yourself?
No, like I said, I'm throwing down money in the first place. So
Okay.
it's like like I go into the bar, I buy around round of drinks for everyone. I'm doing the whole like cowboy bounty hunter thing. I look like a soldier. I got the cyber on, the cyber eyes.
Right.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to be entirely subtle here.
I got you.
Per se. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you have your choice. Either way, you'll be able to make this check with a boon. You can roll either carouse plus social, or you can roll streetwise plus social.
Well, I'm better. The short answer is that I'm better at streetwise than I am at carouse. So yeah.
Go ahead, and you can make that with a boon.
Wahoo! All right, so schwank. Wow. Yeah, looks like I don't need it. Boxcars.
So, okay. You do get some additional information, but nobody, aside from hearing.
Wait, hold on. Before you declare outcomes, if I see anybody who looks sort of interested, I'm going to surface scan their thoughts. Also very important.
Okay, go ahead and make a telepathy plus side check.
I'm better at these now. Honk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, scanning this guy's surface thoughts, the first thing you can immediately tell he's not lying to you, because you're scanning his surface thoughts, and he doesn't really know where the ship is. He knows all that he knows. Where is it here? It is. He says the last, and he actually works at the starport, and he tells you that its last recorded destination when the ship had officially left the starport was listed as in system. And he says, but there were no really details other than there was a note that the ship was on charter to the world government of Walston. He says, so really, he says, we don't, when they came back in an air raft, sans ship, and he says, we have no idea what happened to it, but the only way you're going to get any information on that is by talking to the world governor in Clear Lake, or I'm sorry, Central Lake. And and he tells you that what he does remember about it is that the ship was a far trader, A2 far trader, in a dilapidated condition when it came through the starport, but it seemed flyable enough. And he says, in any case, they came and went a couple of times over the months, and it was running up to its final visit. On that occasion, he says, High and Dry spent a couple of days in port before moving on, and that's when it left, and its only recorded destination was in system.
Okay, I asked the guy, like, if he knows, like, has the government here, like, does the government have the power to seize people's ships? Like, considering that these guys were, like, blithering idiots. Like, could they have pissed off the governor enough or somebody in government to be like, no, we're confiscating your ship for the, for the purposes of for whatever governmental purposes.
I mean, he says, yeah. I mean, of course. So he gives you a little bit of info on Walston's government. It's essentially a dictatorship, but it's really not that bad. I mean, Walston is a far cry from being like North Korea or something like that. I mean, the government isn't ideal, but everybody here seems like they're pretty happy. They're if the planetary governor wanted the minister, if he wanted to seize the ship, the guy's like, I'm sure he could have, but he's never been known to do that in the past.
So, like, yes, it's possible, but it's not plausible. Let's put it this way.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay. I mean, I pay the guy like 200 credits, let's say.
Okay.
And I tell him, like, listen, if you work in the spaceport, like, anything you could let me know, like, I'll pay extra for. Also, I got a buddy, a real tech whiz. If you can hook him into the network, maybe he can pick up something. Maybe he can pick up something. There's a little extra for you in it as well. But yeah.
Okay.
No, thanks for that. And
Okay.
I leave my comm with him, and he can. We can. I can touch base with him in case you want to do some hacking, Zersey.
Excellent. Okay, so Orion and Audrey, what are you two doing?
Is there a restaurant that serves Walston meat?
Probably. That's a good question. Let me take a look. Say about the Walston. It says they're burrowers. I mean, what rodent type animal isn't? They're known as Walstons. A lot of people keep them as pets. They're sociable and loyal beasts, about the size of a rabbit. They are vegetarian and easy to care for, and seem to like living in homes of humans and Vargur. They have absolutely no value as guards or working animals, being slow-witted and lazy when well fed. They do, however, emit a pleasing humming sound when petted, and will snuggle up to anyone in emotional distress, apparently in an effort to comfort. And, of course, their fur makes a very soft wool. If they are about the size of a rabbit, I would be willing to bet there are plenty of people that would eat them. There are also seafood. There's a lot of seafood on Walston, considering that, and this is for Orion, because he didn't see. This is the world map of Walston. You guys are on Settlement Island, which is really the only. I mean, it's called Settlement Island for a reason. That's where the population lives. Pretty much the rest of the world is and nobody's really even bothered. They're like, okay, this is where the colony is. That's all I need to see. Nobody's bothered to really do a whole lot of exploration, but it does have a lot of ocean, obviously, and there are a couple of types of seafood here. Let's see. There's something called Alderson's Coastal Hunter, or more commonly just referred to as the Alderson. It has a broad body about half-meter long, covered in thick scales, plus a whip-like tail roughly the same length as the body. They kind of look like this. They have a pair of puny lobster-like claws, but normally hunt by either submerging from or surging from cover to grab small prey or entangling larger invertebrates with their tail. They can give a human a nasty bite and are tenacious if they feel their territory is being threatened, or they mistakenly entangle with a diver's limb with their tails. Their armor plates make them difficult to kill with a knife. But they are edible. They're crab things, and of course they'll go tasty with butter and garlic. And so there's that. There is also the deep water bakar, a fish. These, let's see here, known for its similarity to shallow water dwelling beasts encountered on some other worlds. In fact, they are not related. The bakar is a sinister looking beast that looks like a fish with an armored head behind which several manipulative tentacles extend. When moving at speed, these are swept back during an attack. They grab prey and haul it into the bakar's mouth. They measure over 1.5 meters long, and that's a big fish. And
It's a big fish.
massing as much as an adult human have been sighted in coastal waters. They are aggressive and can decimate farmed fish stocks if not driven off. They are also quite willing to take on a diver, and they will usually win. So there are some of these. These are much more expensive because this is not what they're generally being fished for, and because of the danger involved, they only catch one or two every so often. So they do serve these kind of as a delicacy, higher price plates, but for the most part, you're talking about farmed fish, space salmon, swordfish, tuna, things of that nature, and a lot of course, shellfish, lobsters, and clams, and various mollusks. Big, huge, a huge industry for seafood. But yes, you do find that there is a place that is serving Walston stew, things of that nature.
All right, Audrey goes to that restaurant and eats the Walston.
Okay. Okay. Put you right there. And Audrey, you can make roll recon plus social.
Recon plus social.
So you go into this restaurant, and of course there's a sign written in Anglic that says, please wait to be seated. And the waitress comes up, and she says, "Oh, will there only be one in your party?" Or
Yes, it's just me.
Or is Orion going with you? That's up to Orion.
Oh yeah, Orion will most certainly go.
Okay.
So then it is two of us.
So this waitress comes up, and she looks at Orion. Orion, you can also roll social, recon plus social.
Oh, that's gonna go horribly.
Actually, that's pretty good. So you notice this. So she walks up to the pair of you. She looks at Orion. She says, "Oh, is there two in your party?" And when Audrey says, "Yes, there's two of us," she then hands both the menus to Orion, and she says, "Oh, come this way." And she leads you through the restaurant, and you see that there's several people that are sitting, up towards the front. And she leads you to the back through a swinging set of I don't know if any of you you remember
they're leading us towards the back, I kind of pick up on the vibe of what's going on here.
Yeah, so she leads you through
I immediately look for an open table up front, very in the open, and just immediately set down, setting my big duffel bags right next to me. Here looks fine, Audrey.
Audrey sits at the table with Orion.
So you notice. So Audrey, make a recon plus intellect check.
Okay.
Got it that time. So you notice that she was leading you through. There was these swinging, saloon type doors on spring loaded hinges. I was just thinking. So out here we used to have these restaurants called Sherry's, and in in the late '80s through, God, I want to say up to like 95, 96, they had those with the saloon doors, and that was their smoking section. Because somehow those open air swinging doors would keep the cigarette smoke in that part. Like that was going to do anything, right? But anyways, yes. And when you see when you look past these, you see that everybody that's seated in that area are all Vargur. And when Orion sits down and says, "Oh, here's a good place, Audrey," the waitress looks at Orion, and she says, "Oh, don't you think you'd be more comfortable in the special section?"
Oh no, I feel very comfortable. Right, I've been hauling these bags around. You know how it is, moving from ship to ship, and making plenty of credits. But
And so,
I mean, if you don't want our business here, as I just kind of start looking at the brand new trench coat and kind of rubbing at the augmented eyes.
She says, no, certainly. And she waits for Audrey to sit down. She gives you both menus. She says, "I'll be right back, and I'll wipe this table down real quick for you." And she leaves and comes back, and she wipes the table down, and you guys are kind of looking over the menu. And they do have, like I said, they've got Walston stew. They have Walston legs. They're very small. They've got a number of seafood items. Basically, you're going to spend probably a good per person. You'll spend as much as 25 credits.
Oh yeah. Audrey, get whatever you want. Meals on me. Have at it.
Oh, thank you, Orion. And then so Audrey orders the Walston stew with the Walston legs.
Okay. What are you guys, aside from feeding Audrey, who this Vargur seems to always be hungry? So, aside from feeding Audrey, what are you doing anything else while are you trying to scope out information? Or?
I'm also trying to keep my ears open for especially with the little scene we probably just made. Any mentions of the high-end dry crew, knowing that they were bits of assholes around here, probably made their own little reputation.
Not really. I mean, mostly the other patrons in here, you see, they appear to be families, locals, but not a whole lot of. I mean, this restaurant doesn't even have like. They do have bar seating, but it's not a tavern. It's like, going into a Denny's. There's countertop seating. It's not a bar. But they're talking about, a couple of old timers sitting at the bar talking about their fish yields. One guy's having to fix the motor on his boat, and business is having problems because of it. I mean, just normal, standard local type talk. You could certainly ask somebody if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'll ask our server or waitress whenever they come back. Just okay. If there was a particular group of assholes that were in here recently from a ship known as the High and Dry, and just kind of casually let slip that I may or may not be a repo man looking for them.
Okay, go ahead and make a streetwise plus social check, and you can make that with a boon.
Streetwise, social.
Yeah, people really seem to hate these guys. They're just tripping all over themselves to give us info about these assholes. Oh, you're repo man? Oh, you're bounty hunters? Yeah, no, they went that way.
Yeah, fuck those guys. They're hiding in that closet right over there. Okay, so yes, the waitress says, "Oh, yes, those jerks." She tells you basically the same information, that they had been coming in and out of town, and through the starport for probably about a good year. Last time they saw them was about 6 months ago, but she remembers that very acutely. And she says that a couple that they came back into town in an air raft, and she tells you, she goes, just between you and me, I don't remember them having an air raft, so I'm almost thinking that maybe they stole it from somebody. But anyways, she says that they came back into town with this stolen, maybe, air raft, and they hung around. They made a complete nuisance of themselves, and then they ended up, she says, last she heard that they boarded a ship that was leaving Walston, headed for Khalidbolg. That it was just a trade ship that was coming through. And she says she doesn't know what happened to them beyond that. And she says that she was told by her niece's best friend, who works at the starport, that they took that air raft with them. And she says, what the only thing that they left behind is that they trashed two of the rooms at the hotel. And she says, she tells you, she says, without a doubt, nobody in town is going to be sorry that they're gone.
Gotcha. She doesn't mention anything that would indicate that they were violent, just more nuisance assholes.
She says, I mean, they weren't not violent. I mean, she says, she says, I talked to George, who owns the hotel, and he says that it's going to cost him a good 1,000 credits to do repairs to those rooms. They knocked holes in the wall. They just trashed the place. She says she thinks somebody peed in one of the plant buckets. She says they were just terrible human beings. They didn't treat anybody very nicely. So, I mean, she wouldn't necessarily say violent, but definitely verbally abusive.
Gotcha. Not violent, but aggressive.
She says she was definitely scared of them, though.
Ignorant.
She says I was definitely scared of them. She says that their level of verbal abuse could easily go over into violence.
Okay. I'll go ahead and slip her 100 credits for any damages or issues they may have caused here.
Okay.
And enjoy a lovely meal with Audrey.
Okay. There we go. Oh, it was just lagging out on me. All right, so Zerzi, getting back to you. So, you go ahead and you talk to. So you're going to buy a kilt, right?
I am going to buy a kilt, a very fancy one.
Okay.
And I'm also going to ask them to custom build these uniforms for me and for Clanker, and I'm going to pay them a lot of money to do it before the train comes tomorrow.
That, I mean, it doesn't matter how much money that you're willing to pay them. There's no way that he's going to have these two uniforms ready for you in less than 10 hours. It's just it's physically impossible. But he kind of takes your ideas. And while you're describing
kilt.
While you're describing these uniforms to him, he does kind of a sketch, pretty much. He pretty much sketches it out exactly as you describe it, for you, and he does think it's a little strange that you want to dress the robot, but he kind of just chuckles to himself because it is funny no matter who you're talking to, and he sketches them out. And he tells you that he could have these ready in, say, a week. He goes, of course, if you're interested in that, he of course could take your measurements and get started on them right away.
All right. I suppose that works. And I also tell him that I need the kilt for visiting the governor. I'm assuming that it's a good idea for when nobles meet to dress for the culture.
So he goes ahead and he puts together. If you're meeting with the minister, he says these are the Walston planetary colors. It's kind of like a blue and black plaid pattern, and or a tartan pattern. And he for you, the outfit for you, if you're getting a really nice one, it's going to cost like 200 credits. There's really
And how much?
not much to a kilt.
With all the bells and whistles on it to make it look very ornate and fancy.
Well, that's true. Probably kilt, sash, shirt,
300.
sporin, socks, flashes, shoes. Yeah, you're probably looking at about 500 credits.
And how much for the other 2 custom uniforms?
So for the 2 custom uniforms, he tells you that you're looking at probably 2,000 credits
In total, or
in
each?
total. In total, 1,000 each.
I will just give him 5,000 credits and say, do it as best you can.
Okay. Oh,
There you go.
certainly. And he takes your mobile comm information, and he says that he will get them done as soon as possible. He thinks that it'll take him about a week. But since you're paying such an amount, that these have gone directly to number 1 with a bullet point on his to-do list. And so if he can get these done faster, he will call your mobile comm and let you know.
If you need to have other artisans help you with it, by all means, I'm paying the money up front. Do what you must do.
You got your budget.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is actually this is Starport. That's Class C port. Can't really expect it. This is the Port Authority, basically the home base of not only the basically the flight control tower, but also what passes for Starport security. Security here seems pretty relaxed. I mean, you do see security patrols walking the streets and whatnot, but they're pretty relaxed. In fact, even knowing the laws, the temporary passes or the temporary licenses that you are given for your weapons, they actually come with like a little office clip that you can clip to your lapel of your shirt, so that you don't get constantly harassed about whether or not you have your license. You just clip it to your shirt, and the cops can look at it and be like, "Oh, okay, you're cool." And they don't seem to harangue you about open carry weapons or anything like that. This here is the nicer hotel in the area, with this being the Dive Hotel. A night is going to cost per room. One room will sleep 2 people. So it's 120 credits per room. So I know Zerzy and Clanker are getting their own room. Who's shacking up with Audrey?
I'll room up with Audrey
Okay.
if she wants company.
So if you guys
Sure.
if you want to split the 60 credits each, you can do it that way. And then that leaves Kaz. You can.
I'm going to give my own place. Yeah,
Yeah. So
not place, but yeah.
120 credits, and these are fairly nice rooms. I mean, they're not fantastic. I wouldn't necessarily call it a resort. Probably about like your average beach hotel.
Not bad.
So the Dive Hotel. So my I don't think this this wasn't last year. Maybe it was last year. Anyways, my wife surprised me at the last minute with a trip to the coast, and so we get in the car. She's like, "I got a really good deal on a hotel." So we get down there. It was an Econo Lodge, and we get down there, and so we now know to not stay in the Econo Lodge because she of course booked it online. She had no idea, and we show up, and this place was a hole. I mean, there were like locals that were hanging out in the parking lot doing some shady shit, and then we get into the room, and she sat down on one side of the bed, and the springs in the mattress were so bad that she ended up the bed collapsed all the way down to the floor.
Oh no.
It was terrible. It was awful. So yeah, we now know, don't stay at a Econo Lodge.
As we get our rooms at the Econo Lodge.
As you get your rooms at the Econo. So yeah, no, 120 credits a night gets you a fairly comfortable room. Anything else that you are looking for throughout Walston or anything else?
I mean, we're probably going to meet up at like the the cafeteria or what have you, and just fill. I'm going to fill in the others on what I found. Presumably, they'll do the same.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's actually like a little hotel bar, downstairs, and lounge area. Probably soft piano music playing. And yeah, you guys fill each other in on essentially you all learn the same thing, is that this previous crew were jerks, that nobody here on Walston liked these guys. Nobody.
And from the sounds of it, they did seem to possibly be violent, so we might have issue if they come showing up when we're trying to take the ship.
Well, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I mean, what? No.
No, that'd be terrible.
I'm just saying,
two of you are very well qualified for this.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't be surprised if we have to put up a fight. But it doesn't sound like it'll be much of a fight. If anything, it sounds like drunken idiots.
Yeah. Even so, drunken idiots can be dangerous if they do something stupid, which they might.
Oh, they most certainly have already, probably. From the sounds of it, the locals are fairly certain that air raft they came back on was stolen. Which would make sense from what we've been hearing about them. Which makes me think, if they came back without the ship, how likely is it going to be that thing is even flight worthy?
Yeah, it might not be. I'm concerned that maybe it could have been picked up by the government.
Well, Scout Services is asking us.
No, I meant the local government.
Oh, the local.
Oh, the government of this planet.
The government.
I guess that'll be something we find out tomorrow. Going to talk to the governor.
Yay.
So yeah.
But it sounds like we should be able to have the law and the locals on our side with whatever we got to do here. So that's good.
So you guys get a fairly good night's rest. Pretty quiet. In fact, so long about probably 10:30 p.m. local time. The lounge in the hotel kind of shuts down. You notice that all of the businesses, the restaurants, anything that would be open late, the taverns even, they all close up around 10:30. So the Startown, unlike most other starports, most star towns are a lot of them are like Vegas. They're open all the time. Not so on Walston. Pretty much everything is closed up by at latest like 10:30, 10 o'clock, around there. And pretty much the whole town just kind of goes to bed. Not a whole lot to do on Walston. And in the morning, you guys make your way to the rail line. All of you can make a recon plus intellect check. Well, it looks like Orion got it and Zerzy got it. Now, Orion and Zerzy, neither of you, I highly doubt that you have any kind of background in rail lines or trains. However, it doesn't take an engineer to really note that the rail line doesn't look like it's in the best of condition. Like, you see that there are a couple places where the track is not nailed all the way down, and it kind of flexes, and at one point the rail is just kind of floating up above the railroad ties, and the train, you're standing on the platform, and the train comes in, and the rail line literally is pressed down by the weight of the train as it comes in. It doesn't seem, when you're seeing it coming in, it doesn't seem like it's moving real fast. Even in the distance, you're just kind of gauging it, and you're guessing approximately about 35 miles an hour is the top speed that it's clipping at, and then it slows down and comes into the train station. Train tickets from here to Central Lake will cost you each 15 credits.
Do I get my kilt and everything, I assume?
Yes, you can be dressed to the nines.
Do they have first class tickets?
No, in fact, the train consists of basically an engine that, I mean, obviously you've got an engine up front, diesel type engine, not a steam locomotive. They have more tech than that, and it's not exactly diesel. It's an electric, but anyways, it's a fairly in air quotes modern train, and it has one passenger car, one passenger car and two freight cars. That's it.
That's small.
Yes.
Yeah, not a lot of traffic. Seems mainly goods and supplies, probably.
So you climb on board. It's the interior of the train looks. I mean, it's comfortable. Everything looks aged. Maintained. The interior of the car is maintained, but it's not. In no way is it considered a luxury ride. This is more like a commuter train, but you at least have legroom. It's not like you're flying on Southwest or anything. So you've got some legroom. It's a little bit comfortable. There's no real steward that's going around, offering drinks or anything. It's just a commuter train from here to Central Lake, and it probably takes you a good 2 hours. Again, during the rail ride, it's a couple times you're a little shook up because the train seems to get like a little bit of turbulence, and there's some bumps, and there shouldn't be bumps on a rail, but there are. And so you kind of pucker up a little bit. But it takes you a good 2 hours. You don't see the train, again, you're estimating, you don't see the train break 35 to 40 miles per hour. It takes its time, probably because the engineer knows that the rail line is really not in the best of condition. But after about 2 hours, you do arrive in Central Lake, which looks almost like the town you just left from. And so in Central Lake, you're coming in from this from the southeast line. And it comes in, and the train just kind of turns around. You see that there is another track that goes northeast and southwest from here. You don't know, the rail lines look like they just go off into the bush of Walston. But you end up here at the rail station. You get all the information on Central Lake, which is called that because there is this big lake that it is on the shores of, and they strangely enough, it's in the middle of Settlement Island, and so they just called it Central Lake. The palace is, of course, here at number 2. It is kind of the entire town was kind of built around it, and then of course you've got more of the residential areas, and then this is a large industrial estate similar to what you saw in the Startown. Now, something else that I forgot to bring up while you were in the Startown, all of the buildings on Walston, they have a very peculiar style of construction. The construction is built down and not up. So all of these buildings are built with the ground level. That they call it the entrance level, and when you go into there, it then goes down underground into their buildings. And so a lot of these shops and whatnot that you find, for instance, in the residential district, they're you go underground from the surface entrance, and then there are like these underground passages that lead to other shops and whatnot. Many of these buildings are connected together, and so the difference, of course, with Central Lake versus the Startown is that this is their commercial district. It kind of flanks the palace, but this and this are commercial district with larger shopping areas and stores and things of that nature. But then sitting, of course, right in the middle is the palace. So what would you guys like to do now that you're in the glorious Central Lake?
Looks like you might have much better odds shopping here, Zersey.
Well, maybe, but we need to go and meet this official to find out where the ship is, right?
I guess head
Yeah.
to the palace then.
Yeah,
Okay.
figure out where it is, go pick it up, get somewhere nice.
And hope for the best.
Okay. So you guys head to the palace, and everybody can make a recon plus intellect check.
Boxcars.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Poor Audrey.
Hmm.
So all you needed was a routine, a 6 to get it. I mean, the population of Central Lake is really small. The rail area here is a hub, pretty much for Settlement Island, and it kind of branches out to various other areas. There aren't really any other. There are other towns. Most of them are, if you believe it, are smaller even than Central Lake. But they're mostly farm towns, fishing villages along the shores, things like that. The palace, you note, is rather grandly named for a palace. I mean, it has some of the ostentatious accoutrements that you might expect of a dictator's palace. Like there's a statue of the current dictator, Minister Green, is big bronze statue is standing out front. Other than that, the palace itself is little more than a single-story building that, of course, you already know. Like all of the other buildings, you'll go in and step down, and it'll go down into a larger area underground. Let's see here. You note that it looks like the entirety of the palace is staffed by maybe 75 people all told. Pretty much the same amount of people that you see milling around doing work in the rail hub and between the rail hub and the industrial area. There's just not a whole lot of population here. you see a lot of these buildings, especially in the industrial area, um, appear to be there are large signs, and you see the name all over the place. It seems that a lot of this stuff is owned by the Masterton family. It seems that they are a large local industrial company here on Walston. But you come walking into the palace, and of course there is a reception area that seems to be decorated in what the locals here on Walston would consider a tasteful business-like manner of pastel blue and light to mid gray. Seems to be their official colors of choice. Just reading that makes me depressed because it sounds like a call center I worked in my 20s. There's a reception desk, and there is a clerk. This woman sitting behind the desk sees you kind of walk in, and she kind of perks up. She almost seems stunned to see anybody walk in, and you come on in, and she says, she kind of sits up straight. She says, "What can I help you with?"
Yes, I am Knight Class Zerzi, looking to speak to whoever is in charge about a missing ship that we're looking for.
She says, "Oh." And she kind of you see her get up, and she takes a pin. She has a pin that is like a magnetic clasp, and she takes it off. She replaces it with another one. Same name, but there's a different job title, and it kind of occurs to you that pretty much everybody has more than one job title because there's really only 3,000 people on the entire planet. And so, but because she works in the government, she takes it seriously. So when she switches to another job title, she policy is you have to wear the right trappings. And so she gets up, and she goes over to another computer terminal, and she says, "What was the name of the ship that you're looking for?"
The High and Dry.
She types it in, and she says, "Oh, that, well, that vessel's been flagged." She kind of looks it up. She says, "You'll need to speak with Minister Green. He is the Minister of Off-World Affairs, Public Relations, and Fisheries." And
Excellent.
she goes ahead and she hits a buzzer and picks up the phone, and she says, "Yes, sir. We have some individuals here that are looking to discuss the ship High and Dry." And you can almost hear his voice. He clearly has raised his voice, and something to do, about those ne'er do wells. Yes, send them right in. And she says, "Minister Green will see you." And she kind of points down the hall. She says, "You can't miss this. The double doors at the end of the hallway."
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
And so, you you go down the hallway, and you open the door, and here's this kind of elderly. I wouldn't say elderly. Yeah, he's probably elderly. Probably about 65 years old. White beard, well-combed hair, wearing a fairly clean-cut, asymmetrical business suit jacket. And he says, yes, come in. I'm very glad that you're not the actual individuals, the previous crew of High and Dry. May I ask, why are you searching for it?"
Well, first off, I am Knight Zerzi. I am here looking for it to take possession of it in behalf of the Imperial Scout Service.
He says, "Oh, okay, so it was a scout ship. Oh, that makes sense." He says, and so he tells you, kind of explains what happened. He says, High and Dry, he says that crew was obnoxious, but they had the capability, and they were here for a while, and so I thought I'd be able to put them to good use towards our own goals here on the world. He says, now part of the reason why I hired them to do this job is because they had gotten themselves into some legal problems in the Startown. And so they ended up in jail, and I offered this to them as a way of allowing them to pay restitution without draining their pockets, and of course, we get something in return. He says it's quid pro quo. It's fairly common practice. He says, but anyways, he goes, in hindsight, it wasn't such a great idea. But he says, anyways, we hired them to basically do a land survey of a very nearby local volcano called Mount Salbari. And he says, essentially, we wanted to know, whether or not the what is it tectonically stable. He goes, many of our many the 5 local scientists that we have in the area, of which only one of them is a geologist, they have gone over the records according to our sensor data that they've collected, and they've been claiming all this time that Mount Salbari is an extinct volcano. So I wanted to confirm that, and so because there's been a couple of recent earthquakes, and so we hired the crew of High and Dry to go over and do a very simple survey of the mountain. And so they did, or at least they took the equipment, and they went up on their ship, and then we didn't hear from them for like a month. And then they came back into town in an air raft, and all of the equipment, the sensors and equipment that we gave them was gone. No sign of their ship. They didn't have any of the data that we requested, and then they quickly turned around and booked passage on another ship. So my guess, if you're looking for High and Dry, she's at the top of Mount Salbari, probably in the crater.
Would you happen to have a ship or a raft or something we could use?
Says, unfortunately, we don't have any air rafts here on Walston. He says, I would love to purchase one myself, but no, we don't. He says, I can. In fact, he says, I mean, we don't really have a whole lot that would assist you in this matter. He says, but if you're going to be going up to fetch the ship anyways, Casimir, he says, I'd be willing to pay you, say, 5,000 credits if you can bring back any data on whether or not Salbari is extinct or not, or if it's any kind of danger. If we can lay these earthquake problems to rest, that would be a very comforting thing for the people of Walston.
I suppose we could do that.
He says, so part of this, and he says, I'm assuming that the mobile sensors that we supplied them are up on the mountain, but we'll supply you with some more. We have some extras that you can take up with you. Basically, we're wanting you play. They're pretty much plug and play. You place them, and you allow them to do a scan, and we're looking for a detailed survey of the interior of the mountain. He says that if you can get the ship running, you should be able to get more detailed information than even the sensors we're giving you. So it shouldn't be overly difficult.
How can you get to the mountain?
I'm sorry, what was that, Audrey?
How do we get to the mountain?
Well, it says any climbing gear or any outdoor gear that you will need. He says we can go ahead and put it on the government tab. We'll supply it for you. Yep.
And how far is this mountain? This crater.
Let's see here. Well, I can show you yet another map.
Orion's already stretching his legs, preparing for a road march.
Right.
I'm an old
Yeah.
man. I don't do well walking long distances. I've done it once.
Okay.
He says so.
All right.
So probably your
Yeah.
best bet is to take the rail line to the southwest and take it to Barvin, and then you'll have to climb Mount Salbari, and you're probably looking at about it's probably about 1,500 meters tall of a climb.
Okay. We should definitely grab some ropes and some basic gear. We do have an elderly man with us.
Yes.
With a badass looking kilt, let's be honest here.
That is an amazing looking kilt.
You could get one of those the straps like Luke had for Yoda, and just carry him on your back.
Yeah,
I
but
got
Yoda
two
was
du-
a tiny green man. Zerzy is not.
That's
I already
true.
got 2 duffel bags full of weapons and clothes and everything I own with me.
Yes.
Yeah, what tech level? What tech level is this joint, by the way?
It is. I want to say it's tech level 8.
Ugh, yeah, we can't even get like anti-grav here.
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't have any real local anti-grav stuff. Which
Do they?
like you said, if I could buy an air raft, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
They don't really.
Do they have anyone that might have, say, a crop duster or a helicopter?
No. He says most everything that you'll find as far as vehicles, there are a couple of ground vehicles. He has there's like a limousine that is anti-grav, but it's not like an air raft. It sits on an actual. It's not anti-grav.
It's not going to ride up a mountain.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's more like
it's
more like a hovercraft. But I mean, it's anti-grav, but it's not like an air raft. It can't make it all the way up into orbit. It just hovers. Most everything else is going to be wheeled or tracked here for land usage, and most of it's going to be wheeled. You're talking about like dune buggies, things like that. And aside from the rail lines, the only other vehicles you'll find on Walston are usually boats of the fishing variety, which isn't going to help you go up a mountain.
Yep.
Perhaps I can make a saddle to sit on back of Clanker and let him walk me.
There's an idea.
That's not a terrible idea. I mean, that's not the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I got plenty of duct tape. We can make this happen.
So most of the I'm looking through the catalog. Most of the survival stuff is like below tech level 8. Obviously, the anti-gravity parachutes and like the fusion stuff is tech level like 10 and 13 and so on and so forth. But realistically, like rope and hiking boots and light sticks, flares, that's all like tech level 5 and 6 and 3. So.
Yeah, I mean, and this is whatever you want. His office will comp. Just take what you need. He says they'll take care of the local business.
We should get climbing kits.
Yeah,
That's
we should
exactly
get
what I
climbing
was
kits. Climbing kits. You said it's only 1,500 tall, so we shouldn't really have breathing problems, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I don't think we should need atmosphere.
So you
considerations at that point.
might. Let me take a closer look, and we'll need to let's go over the world profile about, because it really depends on what the atmo on the world is.
That's a fair point.
It says, let's see here, class C 544. So the diameter of the planet is only around 8,000 kilometers, give or take. Surface gravity, you guys have a nice little pep to your step. So I don't know. I don't think Xerxes will have as nearly as much of a problem as you might think, because surface gravity is only 0.45. So
Oh, then yeah, 1500 shouldn't be an issue at
That
all.
he
makes climbing
probably
easier.
feels like he's 20 years younger than he actually is now. Atmosphere is a 4, so this is where your problem comes in, because it is a thin, tainted atmosphere. You this entire time, and I apologize for not bringing this up, is that you have been wearing a filter mask, not necessarily a respirator, but a filter mask to filter out the tainted atmosphere. Pressure is between 0.43 at the top of Mount Silbari to 0.7 down along the coastline. So 0.43 pressure, you might want to consider respirators at higher altitudes. For the world is 36 to 45% water or hydrographic, so it is a wet world. Population is 3 in the thousands, about 3,000 to be exact. Government type is 3, self-perpetuating oligarchy. Ruling factions are performed by a restricted minority with little or no input from the masses or the citizenry. Basically, the guy you're talking to, Minister Green, is the end-all be-all of everything. Not necessarily a dictator, but an oligarch. The difference being that he holds the purse strings.
Yeah.
And yeah, tech law level 8 and tech level 8. So for an oligarchy, that seems like a really high law level, but whatever, he makes the rules. So
Maybe there
yeah,
was a recent crisis or something. Who knows?
so yeah, I mean, let's see, it says. Yeah, at around 1,200 meters, you're going to, or actually no, at about 900 meters, you're going to start to see altitude sickness effects, unless you have respirators available.
We should get those then.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
they're
I'm,
only
I'm,
they're only 100 credits, and they don't weigh
Yeah,
much. They're essentially a face mask,
Right.
yeah.
and they'll be useful for other things later on, I'm sure.
So, let's see here. You said you wanted to get climbing kits, right? I don't know if you wanted a good pair of hiking boots, each of you.
Mhm.
Why am I not finding? They're. I get what they were. I get what they were going for here. As far as their layout. So yeah, hiking boots, tech level 8 hiking boots give you +2 protection to your feet and ankles. Why am I not finding climbing kits? Yes, if only you had your wrap. I know. It was really hard not to laugh. At...
Oh, it'll be a hassle to bring that along.
Well, now we'll just have to make sure to get at some point.
So they have rope, tech level 5, 10 meters of rope, 150 kilogram load. I don't know how many of those you want. Who's going to keep track of survival gear?
I will. I'm already writing down what we all want.
Okay.
Good.
So
Awesome.
I'll have that ready in just a moment.
Okay, go ahead and let me know as soon as you've got your list.
I'm gonna jerry rig a
And we
saddle
should have
for
extra
Clanker.
water. and rations.
Oh yeah, rations are good. I'm sorry, what did you say, Zerzy?
I'm gonna jerry rig up a saddle to sit on the back of Clanker.
He could just carry you and probably start playing a Whitney Houston song while he's carrying you up the mountain.
I'll buy a couple of cushions so my ass doesn't fall asleep. As they're buying stuff, I regale them the tale of how we got stranded on an ice planet and we had to walk like 200 fucking kilometers to get back to civilization, and I hated every second of it.
So here it is.
God, that'd be terrible.
Tech level 8 improved climbing kit gives you a +2 to climbing related checks. Of course, plenty of pythons for your hiking boots. So while Kaz is creating a list, does anybody have any other questions for Minister Green?
Well, can he give us a note to give to someone at the town by the volcano that says that we can borrow a vehicle to drive there?
He says, yeah, he can go ahead and supply you with a note.
Sweet.
I mean, like I said, it's probably not going to. It'll get you, you know, up to the base of the
Yeah,
mountain.
that's fine.
But
Driving from the town to the base.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that Orion would ask.
So one of the things that I've noticed about this new vehicle handbook is it doesn't have some of the things that the old vehicle handbook had in it, which is unfortunate. But sure, why not? We'll use this. Probably my favorite vehicle in all of Traveler. And no, it's not an aircraft. It just looks cool. Okay, prepping it.
Okay, it's ready.
Think you got your list done?
Yep. Just a sec, and just fix pop off, and then this, and then this. This.
Okay, why don't you read off what you have on your list?
Okay. Well, oh yeah, right. Because I posted in Discord, and our lovely audience doesn't have the entry for that. So yeah, Casimir, pulls out a tablet, starts calculating, doing some stuff, and he says, "Well, if we're very 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 prepared, it's going to run us about 11 grand." And we're going to want a ground car because the whole thing's going to weigh around 221 pounds. Excuse me, kilograms. Um, but we'll be very prepared for any eventuality that can happen in the mountains.
So he tells you that he does know that. So like Audrey asked if you could get a note from him. There is a vehicle in Barvin, a government use vehicle. It is one of these. It is unarmed, however,
Yeah.
which allows it to have a crew of 2 with 4 passengers, because the pintle-mounted autocannon is missing. But this is probably about this is basically average for the kind of vehicles that you'll see in the outback of Walston. Most are unarmed. There are a couple of government vehicles of these types that do have the autocannons installed, but there's not many of them because they have pretty much no need for them. Because again, nobody comes to Walston. But yeah, so this should get you to the base of the mountain. He says he looks over your list. He says, I mean, if it's 221 kilograms, if you're carrying that all the way up the mountain, that's going to be a problem.
I say no, of course not. But what we're probably gonna do is we're gonna set up a base camp, and then once we have a base camp, it'll be, it'll be,
I'll probably be hauling things back up and forth.
Exactly. We have a robot. I'm cybernetically augmented. Orion here is very strong. And the good news is that whatever we don't use, I mean, you guys can confiscate back, I suppose.
He says, okay. He says, no. He writes out essentially what amounts to a blank check and hands it to you. He says, across the street in the commercial district, there is a wilderness outfitter shop. He says, go in there, hand them, pick out what you want, hand them this, and they will put it on my tab, Planetary Governor's tab. The government will pay them for it.
All right, awesome. I hand it to Xerxes, who's our captain, and there you go.
Okay. So yeah, you guys kind of the other thing, of course, that is paid, and he just has his receptionist just immediately print them up, are train tickets bound southwest to the town of Barvin, which is the closest town to the base of Mount Salbari, and he lets you go on your way. Wishes you luck, and he says, as you are leaving his office, he makes the comment that he has a good feeling. He has a much better feeling about you guys completing this task for the Walston government than he did about the previous lot. But he.
Oh, does he? Well, I'm going to read his mind to find out if he's a goddamn liar or not.
Go ahead and roll telepathy and psi.
I believe that's still a success. I think it's like a 4-up. Surface thoughts. Nope, surface thoughts is 8-up. Life detections. Okay, so never mind. I can't read them.
No, you don't get anything from him. He does. I mean, everything that you know about these this previous group, it shouldn't. if you were to do the bare minimum, it shouldn't be hard to do a better job than they did. I mean, if you look at it this way, they didn't even come back with any of the data, right? So,
Sure.
and so, you go over to the it's easy to find. You find the outfitter's shop, kind of over in this quad of buildings here, and you go in, you pick out all of the equipment on the list, and you hand him the blank check, and he kind of checks it over. It's printed on special paper, so he marks it with a marker to make sure that it's not counterfeit. It's not, and on your way to the rail station. Again, there is one train that leaves, and they have not left yet, so you are able to get to the train station, lugging all of this gear. I can only imagine that Clanker has just bags of stuff over his shoulders and is carrying all this stuff for you, or most of this stuff for you guys. And you guys run into the train station kind of at the last minute, kind of almost out of breath, and turn in your tickets, and you board the Southwestern train for Barvin. Now, from Central Lake to Barvin, that's going to be a distance. Yeah, it's looking probably about 12 kilometers. So it's not terribly far. But again, the train doesn't move at a real fast movement rate. And so, it goes through the town of Salbari itself, and then onto the town of Barvin. Looking over your mobile comm, you see that there are another couple of towns out here. There's Thralton and Hopel. But really, this rail line kind of follows along the coastline, more or less. And the as you leave Salbari, the you kind of the wind changes, and you kind of because you can open the windows. The wind changes, and you kind of get a drift of the scent coming from the cargo cars that are attached to the train, and it almost invariably smells like a seafood market that probably has been out in the sun for too long. They don't do much more than just hose these things out at the end of the day, and so it's not the most. They're not the most pleasantly scented cars, but traveling this 12 kilometers on a slow-moving train probably takes you the better part of the day, and by the time you get into Barvin, it is later in the evening. And Barvin is, like I said, it is maybe half the size of Central Lake. And so it is very, very small, very, very tight community. If there's 80 people in the entire town, I'm probably surprised. But it is literally at the base of the foothills of Mount Salbari. So it would be like going into Roman era Pompeii and looking up at Mount Vesuvius. This is what you see: is you see this large volcano just kind of sitting here. The thought would occur to all of you, like if this is an active volcano and it decided to really blow its top, this town would be obliterated. I mean, there'd be, if it was a big explosion, like 1981 Mount St. Helens, Barvin's screwed. It's gonna eat a whole lot of shit. And so you can see why the minister is concerned about this. And at only 12 kilometers from Central Lake, it's not like Central Lake's gonna, they're going to be in the danger zone as well as far as atmospheric conditions. So it makes sense of what they're asking. And so you kind of get to the base of Mount Salbari. And you hand over the note. Now there is a small um, it's not even a hotel. There is a hostel there. It's basically barrack style, mostly used by train crews. But there are a number of beds. You can stay the night there for free if you want, or you can hand over your pass and get the gecko and make your way uh, now tonight and set up base camp in the dark if you'd like.
I was born into it. I've got no problem setting up camp at night.
Yeah, sounds like a fun little adventure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, we got most of us are bionic guys. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we have
We got a
special
robot.
odds, and the Vargar's a Vargar.
right.
Yeah, Audrey wouldn't mind sleeping outside. But did you put tents on our list?
Oh yeah.
You got 'em on there.
The survival kits have tents, and the backpacks turn into tents. So yeah,
Well, then, yes,
we're double
fine
prepared.
then. Okay, time to go camping.
Okay. So you hand over the um, the requisition form, and the rail line has this gecko, and it has seen better days. The body has numerous rust spots, probably because of the sea air, and the, just the salt in the air wreaks havoc on vehicles. But which one of you is going to drive? It is a drive wheeled skill check.
Well, I have drive grav, which means my regular drive is at 0. But
Right.
is anybody better than that?
This is when Orion mentions he grew up on an asteroid belt, never driven something with wheels before, but he finds it fascinating.
Audrey is trained in
He can fly
drive.
stuff.
Yeah, until a couple of days ago, I didn't even know vehicles could have wheels.
Yeah, I mean, Dodger. Yeah, fine. You go for it.
Okay. Audrey drives the vehicle.
Okay, so Audrey hops in, and you guys load up the gecko and start making your way into the foothills of Mount Salbari. Now there are some roads. I mean, calling them roads is being really generous. They are not paved. They are just dirt roads. But you guys are going to, kind of up into the hinterlands. And so you're doing some four-wheel driving. Audrey, give me a drive wheeled plus dexterity check.
Oh, I did.
Okay, so yeah, you're taking your time. You're driving over this rough terrain, and you finally get to the base of Mount Salbari. Let me see if I have a picture. I don't have a picture. Some of the pictures I do have are wrong, but we'll get to that later. That's okay. And so, yeah, you make your way to the base, or really to the top of the foothills section, over some rough terrain. There's not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of vegetation. So most of the vegetation, because of the thin atmosphere, is going to be low ground scrubby stuff. These all of the any trees that you see are going to look like they're at timberline. They're short little, almost like ugly bonsai plants that just didn't quite fully grow, and that's about as 3 feet is about as tall as most of these bushes grow. And you kind of make your way through there, and probably by 9:30 p.m. local time, you finally make it to the base of Mount Salbari and start setting up your base camp. Is there anything that you're specifically doing, about setting up the base camp? You tell me. How are you going about this?
I'm gonna let Casimir start with that, but Orion's gonna be, once we find a spot where we're setting up, it's just gonna be kind of going and scoping through the area, going through his thermal vision, seeing if there's anything potentially threatening here, any signs of large creatures that may be coming through here, or recent geothermal activity.
Okay.
Since there was mention of a volcano possibly erupting.
Well, let me take. So you've got the augmented eyes.
The enhanced visions, they do also operate as prism binoculars.
Yes. So looking for like hot spots, you do see that they're not in your general vicinity, but looking up at the mountain itself, you do see a couple of areas that seem to be slightly warmer than you would expect. Now, at this distance, that could mean a couple of things. It could be variation in air temperature, at higher altitudes. It could mean a number of things. Not necessarily that there's, geothermal coming out of the mountain. But you do see some spots that you think, well, that's peculiar. But it's nothing definitive. The other thing that you do see, looking up the mountain,
And I would be using the P head on the scope on my sniper rifle too, pulling that out to help with the distance.
you do see some of the clouds that are much further up appear to be warmer than other clouds.
Okay, so we definitely got an active volcano. Yay!
As far as like wildlife, the most that you do see that there are numerous Walstons, around, but you don't see anything bigger than that. There's not really a whole lot of known dangerous larger predators on Walston. You're not really seeing a whole lot of them. You do see a number of Walstons.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be taking note of that and just letting everybody know as I spot it out for when we ascend.
Okay. So
And then I'll get to just being muscle for helping set everything up.
okay. So Casimir, they decided to set up a camp to you. Is there any special way that you're going about this, about setting up the camp, or are you just having everybody put up tents and get set up?
No, I don't have any real particular skills in that sense. I do have a physical science or hold on. Science Phys 1.
Okay.
Whatever that means. So, I do have that as a neurochip. So, I slot that in just to check over the sensors.
Okay.
Just so that I'm, not blindsided by them. And but other than that, yeah, I'm just gonna help set up the camp.
Okay. Let's see. Sci-Phys.
I guess that's
So that would be
physics, probably.
physics. Yeah, that would be physics. Study of fundamental forces, which can't hurt. So yeah, you slot that, and you guys go ahead and set up your camp, and you can bed down for the night. And we will pick up next week with you guys ascending Mount Salbari, beginning your climb and deciding what it is that you are taking with you out of this 221 kilograms worth of equipment.
Yeah.
What you're taking with you. I'm imagining that you probably got some frame packs on there. More than likely.
I have regular backpacks. I think the frame packs were out of the
TL.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, you guys will be able to, and actually we'll switch that to 5 backpacks because we can put one on. You can put one on.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And so we'll pick that up next week on Wednesday night at 6:00 with you guys ascending Mount Salbari.
All right, thank you very much for running.
Everyone, next week.
You're very welcome.
There's a slight chance I might not be able to make it next week. I'll know on Monday, and I'll let you guys know. But that's a very small chance. I'll probably be there.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. All right. See you guys later. Thanks for running. Good
No
night.
problem. Have a good night.
Have a good one.